All right, so Suge did a interview on the PBD podcast. Who that was the same podcast that watched your video when Diddy got raided and talked a little bit about how you had predicted it. But he said a couple things in this interview that I wanted to get your thoughts or opinions on. Nothing terribly bad. It's just stuff I wanted to ask you about because the first one, I know, Keefe D always has this quote saying, that whole death row stuff would have never existed if it wasn't for him.
Oh,
Man, let me tell you something, dude. If
go
it
ahead.
weren't for me, that whole little death row shit wouldn't
I
even
said
been
you.
nothing.
I ain't never said that about PJ. I ain't never
I
gave you
put
credit
that
for
shit
that.
together, dude.
I ain't never said that.
Suge made a statement on the podcast, on the PBD podcast, that said he was the only label that didn't start his company with drug money.
The only powerhouse who didn't start my business or my company with drug money. And on top of that, I'm not saying that's wrong or right. Just the facts. But even the people you name, I bet you name all these guys, they've been caught dealing drugs from their business. They can't. If they attack them, they really attacking Universal or Sony or Time Warner, right? If you attack Death Row, you just coming for Death Row.
I'm not saying that Keefe D is saying that he gave drug money to start it. I just know that Keefe D says that. And then when I hear Suge say that, I just wanted to get your thoughts on it and if there was anything there or not.
Uh, well, everybody have heard the Harry O claims and reasoning for lawsuits, and they also settled with Harry O in '95 or '96, and then ultimately was the reason that he had to file for bankruptcy in 2007 because he alleged that his money, which was gained from illegal activities, uh, was the startup money for Harry, I mean for Death Row. But then we also hear the Vanilla Ice stories, right? And chocolate monies. And so, hey, who knows what to believe? We also hear Dick Griffey says he gave the studio time, and DOC said he did all the writing and brought people around and made Dre get comfortable with him. Is the reason why they all should are considered investors. Then of course we heard Keefe D talking about Boss Man, which he was talking about a guy who initials, I never say his name, but I just say his initials of PJ, was supposedly gave some money, which I have even heard Suge always said that maybe PJ did give some money for whatever reason. I don't know why, but he definitely have always denied that Michael Harrio had any involvement other than being a middleman as far as connecting him to people like that. Uh, so that would be the whole claim. That would be my whole take on what people want to believe. Nobody actually know, but the hard work and the work was done with Suge and Dre and Snoop and later Tupac making all of those great albums. Everybody else that's claiming to have something to do with the startup of Death Row, such as Harry-O, DOC, and Dick Griffey, all has received the monies back that they probably was deserved by evidence of lawsuits uh, and agreements that they signed in the 90s. Dick Griffey got paid off by me from refinancing a building and paying him out directly. DOC, Joseph Porter, I paid directly from refinancing of a building in my name, which my credit, and then Interscope paid Harry O back before I got involved on the business side in '96. And so I'm like, sure, yeah, His company was done from the hard work of the Chronic album, Doggystyle, and of Above the Rim, Murder Was the Case, All Eyes on Me, and Machiavelli would be the basis or the groundwork or the structure or the bottom of that particular business. And the one song on D cover, 187 on the motherfucking cob. So all of the other people that's out there trying to run around dancing and talking about they did this and did that, well, I ain't giving them credit either. And so I understand why Suge says what he says on no podcast, and I understand why he's disappointed and upset that the government, and apparently the government did agree, or at least the grand jury did, if the U.S. attorney didn't, because they had a hearing. That's why I always call Harry O a rat. Only reason I ever said Harry O is a rat, because I know, and I know he was sitting down at the grand jury telling the government who to subpoena in and bring in, and they will take him before the grand jury and had a grand jury. Guess what the grand jury came back with an offer of? Y'all gonna be funny with all that they did, all they ever found out that Death Row did. And I think this deal was done in 2001, where everything got concluded. Guess what, y'all? Okay. Failing to file taxes in a timely manner, a misdemeanor. All they got was a fine, I think. I forget what the fine was. It was so minimum. And the accounting firms had to pay Suge Knight, David Kenner, and Dr. Dre monies for misappropriating and for not filing no particular tax forms for them. They were paying one of the biggest law firms in the country. It was owned by Price Waters, but it was called Gelfand. Major money to handle all of that. So apparently Suge Knight is telling the truth. And he's right. When they did that major investigation and they couldn't prove or show any trails of where drugs money was the start of Death Row. Because y'all don't think the government wanted to own that catalog in 1998, 1999, 2000? That was their goal. That was their goal. So Suge Knight's telling the truth on that, y'all. By evidence. Peace.